Well, hello everybody! Welcome back to G Bear's Off-Grid Ways. And I'm out here in the garden. I've been growing some apples. Road apples. Alley apples. Whatever. No, actually, just getting something ready here. And I was cooking today, so I have a big pot of Portuguese kale soup on the stove. And that'll be feeding me for a while. But I wanted to show you a little trick that I discovered that might interest some of you who are gardeners, and for those of you who are prepping and living off grid and all of that. All right, we're going to talk today about potatoes. All right, so the way most people plant their potatoes is they'll take a few of the potatoes and let them go to start sprouting eyes on them, and then they cut them up with at least 2 eyes per chunk. Some people bury the whole potato just as it is. Depth of bury, they say 6 inches. I prefer 8 inches. It's better. You want that extra depth so that the runners can produce more potatoes under the ground. You want good organic soil that's well drained, that doesn't just compact on you. You want it to drain really well. And you need it to be able to hold moisture also. So adding some perlite to it helps do that. So you mix your perlite in. All right, so here's where I usually plant my red potatoes. And since I don't have any red potatoes to plant, what I did was I prepped this to show you what I'm going to do on planting some russet potatoes. How does that work? Russet potatoes, Idaho potatoes, whatever you want to call them. All right, so I've got a trench here about 8 inches deep, and along the bottom of it I just put a little bit, not a lot, of the road apples, or the horse manure. Okay, just spread it out across the bottom. Now, instead of cutting up a whole potato and wasting the rest of the potato, I wanted to eat it. So, well, a few potatoes that I had to peel. So I peeled them, and I saved the peels right here. Okay, now I'm going to take those peels and evenly distribute them throughout the bottom of the trench here. And everybody says, well, that won't work. Baloney. As a kid growing up, my dad had a compost pile out behind the tool shed. And all of the stuff that mom would use for cooking in the kitchen, we had to take them. Well, my job was taking the garbage out. So I had to take the garbage out, and there was we had a garbage container where we put the garbage in this hole in the ground that was picked up weekly by a pig farmer, and they used that to feed the pigs. But in the compost pile, we would put anything that was compostable. And one of the things that was compostable was potato peels. Okay? In that compost pile, just from those being in there and getting turned and mixed into the compost pile, all of a sudden in the season you would see potato sprouts popping up out of the ground. And if you let them grow, you went back there later on, you could dig up potatoes out of the compost pile. There'd be potatoes grown in the compost pile. So, that being said, these will, not all of them, but some of them will sprout plants, and I'll get some potatoes out of it, and I get to eat the potatoes, so there's no waste. Okay, so what we're going to do is just kind of evenly space these out through this trench. All right, got a little too many there, got a little bit there. All right, so that's all done. So now what I'm going to do is backfill this area. Oh, you're looking at my feet instead of what I'm doing? Come on, guys. Pay attention here. What are you watching, huh? Yeah, you want to get in here and dig too, don't you? My little helpers. All right. So I'm covering that loosely with the soil that I pitchforked up or tilled up, whatever, however you want to say it. And we know that there's a path right down the center of this box. Now, again, like I said, I don't like really growing in containers because containers limit the amount of stuff you can grow in them. I'd rather, if I could, plant this whole area in potatoes and get lots of potatoes, but I need to grow other things too. So this would give me a much bigger bed of growth in here. But this is what I'm going to do. I got that one planted with potatoes, and I got that one planted with potatoes. Now, I will be coming back tomorrow, and I will put a little bit more of the soil with a perlite over the top of this with some more horse manure on top of it all. But for right now, I'm going to water this all in really well. I'm going to soak it down really well. And that will give the potato peels the moisture they need to start looking to grow. Now they're in the dark now, but one thing that people don't realize is potatoes like dark, okay? And then you got to keep them in the dark if you want them to sprout. If you get them in the sunlight, they're not going to sprout. They're going to rot. Well, actually, fresh picked potatoes in the sunlight will turn green. And guess what? Don't eat green potatoes. They're poisonous. You'll only do that once. You'll get the cramps like you've never felt before, so don't do that. Green potatoes are poisonous. And some people say, well, I'll just peel the green peels off. Well, that's okay as long as the inside of the potato isn't green at all. If it's even got the slightest little hint of green, it will make you sick. So steer clear of that. I'll be pulling that aloe vera out of here and potting it. I just stuck it there when I was doing aloe veras before because I didn't have any place to put it. So that'll come out of there. So anyway, I'm gonna wet this down now, and then I'll be coating the top of this first with some more of that potting soil with the perlite in it. And then I'll put some horse manure over the top of that, and I'll water it again tomorrow. And that will be ready to go, and hopefully we'll be getting some rain here. Every time they say we're going to get rain, we don't. And every time they say we're not going to get rain, the skies cloud up. Go figure. Weather guessers. So anyway, that's what I got done over here today. One other thing I did, and I'll show you that as I head up, because I can come back and water this after I set my video on upload, because tonight I get to watch Tony and Leanne at doing Redneck Things Off Grid on YouTube for their Tuesdays, as I have questions and see what they've got, because didn't get anything for the last couple of weeks. They've been off deer hunting, and they're back now, so he's going to do a double episode tonight. So you guys might want to go over there to Doing Redneck Things Off Grid and check them out. All right, so the other thing I did, the winds are picking up. We're going to have to fasten this. That's a wind protector. But the winds have changed. They're coming from a different direction today. I cut up a bunch of firewood for my neighbor, and I texted her and said I've got it. I got 4 bundles and a box of kindling, but I didn't hear back from her. So I'll give her another shout later on. This little stuff on top, I just put that on there to wedge the wire a little bit tighter so that it will hold all this stuff together. And this is all those pieces of pallet that were down in here. And that's going to make some nice warm burning for her in her stove. The weather says we're supposed to get some 29-degree temperatures out here for the next couple of nights, so that's going to be a little bit on the chilly side. I started filling in that hole there, but there's not enough dirt. So I think it's all underneath the cage there, and I'll have to get my hoe or my rake and dig that out from underneath there, rake it out from underneath there, and finish filling that hole over there. So it looks a lot better around here without all this stuff laying on the ground, huh? I got that pile to pick up of trash, and the dogs, the puppies, the poopies I should call them, not puppies. The poopies poop everywhere. I come out every day and I pick up 5 pounds of hand grenades. They're not landmines yet, they're only hand grenades. So the dogs are all getting anxious. They think it's, I'm out here and they think it's supper time. They've got a little while to go yet, but all right, everybody. I want to thank y'all for joining me. I step around here, make sure I got this all closed up. Yep, got everything closed up, and I'm going to go inside and set this thing in motion while I finish cooking my supper. This is G Bear signing off.